are live. Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to the Maximo show here at VodPod Media. I am your host, as always, Maximo, taking over your Tuesday night. And we got two special guests this week for our special Super Bowl edition show for the big week, the big game. If you live inside the States, you just know that this week mesmerizes people. What is it about the Super Bowl that we love? What is it about our culture? Is it the commercials? Is it the halftime show? Is it the high scoring game? Is it the storylines, the drama behind the big game? Who knows? We're going to get into it with our two special guests tonight. We got Mr. Gylan Jackson, owner, founder of VodPod Media. You may know him from the Ticket at 760 here in San Antonio. Big shout out to Gylan, the man behind the Maximo show. So give him all of your love, all of your grace in the comment section. We've also got our homegirl, Ashley. Find her as Sports as Told by a Girl. She's coming out from New Jersey tonight. We appreciate her showing up on this squeaky clean stream. We're live right now, folks. Give us a like, comment, share, subscribe for all of the best shows here at VodPod Media. But we're going to jump right into it. Ashley, what's up, girl? Tell us how you're feeling tonight.
I'm good. How are you feeling?
We're doing it big. We're doing it extra live. And we always bring that high energy. We got acquainted from our homegirl, Carolina Teague, who's out at Radio Row in Arizona right now. She got the call. She was originally intended to come on the show. She couldn't make it at the last minute. We were hoping that you would call in regardless. So we were happy to bring you back to the channel. So we appreciate you. Talk to me a little bit about your passion and love for sports and how that came to be.
Oh, man, I've been a sports fan since I can remember. Every Sunday was football Sunday in my house. My mom is actually a basketball coach when I was growing up, men's and women's. So I was always around sports, always around athletes, and I just fell in love with competition and just the love of the game. And then when I got to college, I decided, why not make this a possible career? I took a class that was just manage a website, and that is how Sports as Told by a Girl was born. And I've been going ever since.
Sports as Told by a Girl. I love it. So one of the things that we do at VodPod, one of the things that we are strong promoters of is people from underrepresented or resilient communities taking up space where we were not intended to be. Black and brown, women, LGBT plus community, those folks getting into space and making a name for themselves. Even the title of your channel, Sports as Told by a Girl, kind of connotes that it's not really supposed to be told by a girl, right? So Talk to me a little bit about your passion for that and taking up space and also owning the content. I mean, you know what you're talking about. We wanted to have you on the show regardless of male, female, you name it, because you know your stuff.
Thank you. There's nothing better than people who aren't supposed to be somewhere being there and saying, I'm not going anywhere and you're going to have to do it. I think there's something very special about that. And I think that hearing from different people just makes sports better, makes sports debates better. We're coming from different opinions and we can just go at it in a respectful manner. And that's all that women are asking for is just a seat at the table. And then more women to the table.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to get into it. Because Gylan's got some opinions and some takes that you may not like. If you look at his shirt, it says National Sarcasm Champion. And Gylan, talk to us as well about creating a space for black and brown creators, for women, for people of color to get out there. If you look at some of these major networks, they'll cancel us. They'll take us off the air in a second because of a take that we had on social justice or a take that we had about police brutality or what you name it, right? This month is Black History Month. Talk to us a little bit about creating this space with intentionality.
Well, listen, after opening VodPod Media, having yourself, Carolina Teague, a couple other people on, I really don't care what major media does anymore because I understand that I have created this space to give other people a voice, not just me. It's very rarely that you see me. It's maybe outside of Carolina's show, I never go on anybody else's show, right? Because this is about them. It's not about me. I'll shine in some other ways. But I don't worry about canceling as much as I used to. I don't worry about what major media is doing because I understand what's possible. I mean, you have Ashley here. I mean, damn, she started her own thing, just like Bam. Mm-hmm. And she's doing it and monetizing, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. So listen, we really don't need the social construct of mainstream media. All we need to do is just be us and have a good time.
That's right. So as you heard it, we got Suge Knight, who's not trying to be all up in the rappers' videos. He ain't going to be the producer like Puff Daddy that's trying to get all up in the videos.
Suge Knight.
Come on now. Hey, we giving a hip hop an ode to the hip hop.
I'm going to be holding Maximo. I'm going to be holding Maximo over a balcony by his ankles like Suge Knight did.
Come on
trying
now.
to shake him down.
Come on now. You're already cursing at me before the show, calling me a diva. You know, that's a bad word to me. So right away, we got to get into it. You know, I asked Ashley earlier what she did today, what sport she was watching, and right off the bat, she got into our first topic, and that's LeBron James. Now, listen, LeBron James has been under tons of scrutiny for basically not being Michael Jordan. Let's be honest with you. Everyone has tried to fill those shoes of who was the next Michael Jordan. LeBron James is great by all means. If you don't know, if you're living under a rock and don't like sports, you know he is 36 points away from breaking the all-time scoring record held by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, another GOAT in his own right. LeBron is second all-time on scoring, fourth all-time on assists. Ashley, I'm going to kick it to you. Thoughts about LeBron getting ready to break this record, if not tonight, in the next game?
Oh, my God. I mean, what can you say about LeBron? It's another accomplishment for one of the most accomplished athletes of all time. Like, this man has had the highest expectations since he was 16 years old and has still managed to surpass every single one of them. I don't know if I want to call him the GOAT. I know there's a lot of controversy, but I will say he's the most versatile player of all time.
Ooh, I like that.
What do you think about that idea?
You know, the other thing, he's got the longevity. It takes a certain level of, just greatness, athleticism to last as long as he has. He's still got a few years left in him if he wants it to be. He could evolve his game to play more of a, point forward or power forward type position where he slows down and does more, stuff in the paint versus explosiveness, which I don't think he'll lose that quick twitch explosiveness. But let's be honest, the man is great. Guyline, do you got any thoughts on that yourself?
Could you imagine LeBron coming off the bench? Think about that.
Never.
But think about the greatness around that. Think about the 20 to 25 points he would score coming off the bench, and giving players that added extra piece, right? Because do we want to see LeBron like hobbling as a starter, or what about if we use his talents better as it comes down to it, coming off the bench? It's an idea.
It is an idea, but it's going to depend on what type of minutes he wants to play. As you know, they are taking games off these days, right? Load management, as they call it. Coach Popovich, coined that sort of style of play. Some people, fans are fans of it, and some are not. There's a case to be made for it, particularly as you get up there in age. Guyland, you talked to me about commodifying and seeing these players as objects, right? I mean, talk to me a little bit about that. That's important as well, because these players got to look after themselves. They are independent contractors. They have their own brands. They have their own businesses. They have their own sneaker deals. Talk to us a little bit about these players owning their own careers.
Well, I think LeBron is probably one of the first players that we've seen. And I think that's a huge challenge, that has truly owned his own identity from day one. If we look at who LeBron has surrounded himself with, lifelong friends, no PhDs, no MDs, no Yale, no Harvard. And these guys have kind of like owned their space with LeBron the entire times. He is a father. He has kids. He's done it the best way possible. I think sometimes he doesn't need to speak on every little thing that goes on, but I'm happy that he is. We do have an athlete that's at the top of their game, like a Serena Williams, that speaks. Because if I want to look at the GOAT of sports in general, I look at a Serena and I look at a LeBron. Michael was amazing. However, on the social aspect, he dropped it. He dropped the ball. he had some opportunities, but I don't think he would have had the opportunity to become a billionaire with Nike, become an owner of an NBA team if he did speak up. Whereas LeBron James is like, yo, this is who I am and I'm going to do it. So I think LeBron has done the best job of owning who he is than any other player in recent memory.
Yeah. That's a good point, man, because he's been a great father. He's never been arrested, never had a mugshot all over the newspapers, right? They've criticized him. They've talked about his hairline. They've talked about his record in the finals. They've talked about how Space Jam 2 wasn't as good as the first Space Jam, right? I mean, they've been in the sewer criticizing his crap. Let's be honest. You know, people on sports talk radio, they've been talking about LeBron. They've been talking about the Cowboys, and they're just looking to stir stuff up. My thing is this. And again, we talked about the GOAT debate, Ashley. You know, LeBron perhaps will never be recognized as the greatest ever, the most versatile, the most athletic possibly. You talk about a 6'9" freight train that can run and jump the way he does. And the numbers that he consistently has put up over a long period of time is got to be one of the more impressive things. The other thing to consider here, as you mentioned, if he ends up playing with his son in the NBA, Bronny, I mean, you're talking about crossing over to another level of greatness because he's already played against guys right now where he competed against their fathers. Mm-hmm. And so myself, having a son, if I can compete with my son at a high level one day, it probably ain't going to be the NBA, of course, but at a high level, that's something to be proud of.
Oh my God, yeah. Seriously, especially as a man who didn't have his father. I mean, he's just been an example every step of the way. He's been an excellent husband, excellent father. And if he gets to do this with his son, I mean, that's just got to be the coolest moment. The son that he came into the league with. You know, like that is just so cool.
So tell me where he ranks in your top 10.
Number 2.
Next to who?
It has to be Michael, only because I think Michael's the better defender. And I think defense, you know, should count for something. Oh,
of course it does. I mean, the tenacity that Michael had. And listen, we grew up in the Michael era. Let's be honest. I mean, you know, when Michael was there owning first ballot Hall of Famers, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Clyde Drexler, Magic Johnson, beat them all in the finals. Right? I mean, just a ruthless competitor, shutting people down. I always marvel at the Dream Team documentary that they made when they said, no, we're going to shut down him, and Scottie Pippen said, we're going to shut down Tony Kukoc. You remember that? And they said, they like Tony Kukoc, so we're going to dominate this man. We're going to shut him down.
I love that about Michael. It was just, he took it so serious that it was, how could you not respect that as a fan? It was like he always gave you everything he had. Him, Kobe. I think that's what people feel about those two. But they say killer mentalities. It's like they left everything on the floor. And I don't know why LeBron doesn't get that. Because he leaves everything on the floor. Maybe not every night. But in the finals, you cannot say he doesn't.
I would argue that the reason why he doesn't get that is because he's outspoken. Because he's been great for so long. You got to think about it. He came into the NBA, and we're talking about social media. Kobe didn't grow up during social media. Michael Jordan didn't grow up during social media. So we got a lot of people talking a whole lot of shit about shit they don't know. Listen to other shit that somebody shit that they don't know. And they just spewing the same shit.
So wait a minute, Garland. You're telling me Twitter trolls ain't speaking facts?
Yeah. So Jordan is 1A and LeBron is 1B. I can't even put him like a 1-2.
Yeah,
I think if LeBron hadn't been to so many championships, even though he's lost them, I wonder.
So here's my thing, and I'm gonna counterpoint, and I want to hear a response before we move on to the Super Bowl. But my thing is that you can't be the GOAT. You can't be the greatest with losing as much as he is. Now you look at this year, you look at last year. Last year they didn't even make the playoffs. This year, their record is still terrible. They got 3 perennial all-stars with himself, AD, Russ. They were in the running, or they talked about maybe getting Kyrie. I mean, how many good players do you want? How many good players are these first ballot Hall of Famers, second ballot, third ballot? They're Hall of Famers, future for sure. How many of these players do you want to say, all right, we're going to compete against today's modern NBA and get a chance? The other thing is his record in the finals. I'm not willing to say he's my 2. I think he's in the top 5, potentially top 10, but you got too many other great competitors that were there. I mean, look, Kareem. Let's look at Kareem. I mean, unstoppable.
For sure.
You know?
Kareem definitely top 5.
Michael.
Of course.
You know, maybe LeBron was more athletic than a Magic, but Magic was still up there. You know, the other guy is Steph Curry. Look at Steph Curry. He's in the top 10 in my opinion.
So where are you putting LeBron?
I mean, honestly, it's hard to say. He's either 5 or 6. You know, Kobe.
God, no way.
No way.
No.
No way. You smoking crack.
Why is he lose? The best don't lose as much as he's lost. The best find ways to win.
Yeah, and the best also go to 3 different teams, win with 3 different championships with only one superstar next to him each time.
How many games, how many finals have you lost, though, in this long period of time? Again, look at – what was that, Ashley?
Didn't he go to 8 straight finals?
He might have, but what was his record once he was there?
Straight finals, and that's like no big deal. Come on. That's not fair.
No, I'm not saying it's not a big deal. I'm just saying, how are you going to lose this much? How are your regular season with so many losses? Look at their record this year. Last year, they didn't even make the playoffs.
But no one player, so you're putting everything on his back.
No, what I'm saying is the best, when we're talking about these folks in the best, Michael, Kareem, Magic, they were winners all across the board.
So was Jordan until he went to the Wizards.
That was what? After retired and came back.
Yeah, okay. Make excuses if you want to.
Those are my arguments. I want to hear from folks in the comment section. If you're watching, chime in. Where does LeBron rank in your all-time? I'm not saying he's not legendary. He's going to be one of the best of all time. But as you mentioned, Ashley, I can't call him to go. I can't call him the greatest of all time. Based on my opinion, the only knock that he has is as many losses that he has. How can I look at my son right now who's 8 years old and tell him LeBron is the best and look at their record and they're 24-27 this year?
Who's your son's favorite?
What's that?
Who's your son's favorite player?
He does like LeBron.
Okay. What does he think? What does like the next generation think?
Well, LeBron's even getting up there in time, though. You know, nowadays you got, younger players that are, you got the Ja Morants, you got the Lukas, that the younger generation is looking up to.
Listen, what I like to do is I like to defer to players. And the players' consensus is that LeBron is number 1 or number 2.
LeBron's a dog. He's a dog.
That's not Yahoo sitting behind a microphone with opinions with pretty shirts on, right? That is the players that are playing against him are saying he is 1 or 2. Period. So for us to say he's 5 it's a neat, cute opinion, right? But these dudes are the dogs of the dogs of the dogs. And what do they believe?
Would you take number 5 if I said he's number 5?
Hell no.
We're gonna leave that. We're gonna leave that to the players.
Ashley,
if you a pro
would you
player,
say number 5?
No, that's awful.
All right, folks. The opinions are split down the line. I got some weight here because we had a 4th guest and he didn't call in. So
wait a minute. Wait, hold on. But you're also saying that because he lost, he's not great.
Lost as much as he did. Winning percentage matters. Here's the other thing. If you watch a game, any game, a regular game, I watched a game, I can't even remember, a couple weeks ago. I mean, I couldn't believe how many turnovers LeBron had in a short period of time. I mean, let's be honest. He makes some erratic decisions sometimes. He loses the ball, quick turnover. And I'm just like, he takes a terrible shot and then they rebound, go the other way. They're not getting back on defense. And I'm just like, I don't know. I can't call him the best, one of the best ever when seeing that sort of play. You should be able to take any, what do they call that, syringe of his play and drop it in the little petri dish and see the greatness. You could see that from all those greats that I'm talking about, whether it be Michael,
Revisionist history.
How so?
Because we have more tape on Jordan and the greatness of what he is. Tom Brady. A couple of years ago, they said Tom Brady never yelled on the sideline. He was a great teammate. Wasn't a hard head. Didn't this. He was great to. Man, have you seen Tom Brady in the past 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, he gets aggressive out there, but we always knew that.
Because, no, we didn't know that.
People don't know the game, like you talked about, not these Twitter trolls.
But the media shows us the one thing. You got to think about all the cameras that are always trained on LeBron. Jordan didn't have that. Jordan did not have that. These cameras are always on these athletes. He passed gas. Somebody makes a face, and they're like, oh, he farted. Like, the cameras are always on them.
Part of the reason that is because LeBron has lost. Let me tell you something.
No.
Yes, it is. If he won, even if he continued to win, he would silence all these haters. I'm telling you.
Screen for a second.
They would all cease. All those little mice would stop chirping. They would stop coming around looking for scraps and try to pick them and nag them and take them down because it's about winning. The sport and the game's about winning.
Ashley, I'm giving you your own screen. Talk to me, Ashley.
No, he's up in an era where everybody wants to criticize everybody. And when you're LeBron James, literally the greatest player of this generation, of course there's going to be people that hate you for every single thing you do. People hate LeBron for how he dresses. People hate LeBron because it's Tuesday. People hate LeBron because, he's making more money than them. Let's just be honest. And it's just the culture that we live in now. It's so much more fun to make fun of people. Look at Shaq and Chuck. Their whole thing is making fun of each other, and we love them for it. But that's just the culture we live in. When Michael was literally like a rock star all around the world. And not to say LeBron isn't, but it was just different. There was just not this constant hatred coming from social media and all these people thinking they have a voice and they can get into LeBron's head. No, you can't.
So my thing is, those people wouldn't be hating on him if he was winning more.
Yes, they would.
No, they wouldn't.
People hate on regular people for no reason.
They hate on Tim Duncan. Think about how great. Think about how not Greg Popovich. Think about the greatness that Greg Popovich is as a coach, and people still find a way to hate him. I'm going to tell you something else. As petty as Jordan is, there's no way he could have made it during the social media age without breaking down and doing more drinking and gambling more.
I don't know. And we're getting off topic. Let's move on.
I'm
Super Bowl week.
We're
not going to agree on this one. We're going to leave it up to the viewers. If you're watching, chime in. We want to know your thoughts. We got to know y'all's thoughts, Ashley. It is Super Bowl week. Why is American culture so fascinated with the Super Bowl? Millions of viewers tune in from all over the world. Our homegirl Carolina's out in Arizona right now at Radio Row, getting next to Mike Vick, interviewing Gronkowski, Dana White. All the celebrities come out to the Super Bowl. You got Rihanna with the halftime show. Everyone's going to be watching, no matter if you like football or not. They're going to be ordering pizza, ordering wings. Everybody's looking to make money. Everyone's looking to bet squares on the Super Bowl. What is it about our culture that we love, and why do we love the Super Bowl so much?
We're just gluttonous, and we love to win money. I think that's really all it is, because people just love to eat and drink, and America for you. This year, Rihanna is, oh my God, who's not excited to see Rihanna after all these years? Everyone's got to be excited for her. But this is a really good game. This is definitely the top two leagues, so that's really exciting that we're going to get a great game. Because it could go either way, honestly. This is a tough one to call.
Yeah, we're going to get into the calls.
Yeah.
We want to get into the calls, but it's funny because we talk a little bit about viewership. We talk a little bit here at VodPod about what people like to see. People love the Super Bowl. I remember, who remembers, was it a couple years ago when, who was it? It was A-Rod was getting fed the popcorn from Cameron Diaz, right, during the halftime. Or was that just during the Cowboys game?
I remember seeing this, but I don't remember where they were.
I think it was a Super Bowl. And they had, during halftime, they flashed the cameras up into a box, and A-Rod's getting fed the popcorn from Cameron Diaz, and that was on memes for a month straight, right? It's we love big moments. We're starving for these these things on social media where people take it and then they run with it. Last year we had the Super Bowl halftime performance by all the hip hop legends, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem came out, Kendrick. This year it's Rihanna. Gylan, are you looking forward to seeing Rihanna? Are you going to be watching the game? What's good, man?
The favorite part of the Super Bowl for me is the commercials. And
why do you like the commercials?
I just marketing, advertising, owning my own studio. Like I love the commercials. However, with that said, I think Rihanna's going to put on a great show. I'm really excited about having two black quarterbacks playing against each other for the first time, especially if people don't know the history of the black quarterback in the NFL, and somebody with the greatness of like a Warren Moon, who was not even drafted after winning every award you could possibly win in college, wasn't even drafted in the NFL, had to go to the CFL, then came in and wound up playing for the Houston Oilers, and would have broken every passing record out there. So like when I look, to me, there's a lot of meaning in this game. About not how far, but really how much further we have to go. And I think that, and if I'm not mistaken, there's even a woman who's going to be one of the coaches for the first time ever on the sideline. So there's a lot to celebrate in this game. I think that it's become such a cultural experience with millions upon millions watching the game. I don't always agree with the NFL. It's a fun sport to watch. I think it's the height of capitalism in America. And I think that's why we like it so much. It is indulgent. I almost want to take a shower after watching it.
Oh,
it's dirty.
Gylan with those takes, boy. Clip that and put that out there. The height of capitalism, he says. But here's the thing about American culture. You talked about it, Ashley. Like, we love it, right? We're gluttonous.
I think Ashley's frozen.
Well, hopefully Ashley can chime back in. Folks, we appreciate y'all patience. We know y'all know we're live. We shoot the show live every week. So we're going to get people in where they can. If they drop off, we're going to get them back in somehow. But here's where we're going with this capitalism, this football debate, Gylan, because a couple years ago, that was something big in our communities, in our circles. A lot of our people were talking about protesting the NFL because of Colin Kaepernick taking a knee during taking a knee during the national anthem. Years prior to that, Colin Kaepernick made it to the Super Bowl. Although he didn't win, they came very close. He had a great year. Many people in our community were divided about supporting the NFL, the NBA, other professional sports. My thing, and I don't know if you agree, I want to hear your take on this, is that wherever there is opportunity, wherever there is the spotlight, that's where our people need to be. So if it's in the boardroom, if it's on, news media, if it's in marketing and business, if it's in government, if it's in sport, that's where our people need to be. So I don't believe in saying, and there's a certain extent the case to be made about making change from the outside, but there needs to be also change being made on the inside. And the only way that can be done is us getting involved, shaking things up, being a part of, the process. You talked about ownership. Michael would have never, been an owner of an NBA team unless he got involved somehow, made his money, got his notoriety, got his fame, got his money to purchase that, because money talks in this country.
Money does talk in this country. 100%. I don't know, man. It's, we tend to look at a lot of things through a social and through a racial lens. It's pretty special what's happening with football, some of the ownership that's coming around, some of the social justice things that the NFLs have been able to push a little bit. Like, listen, I don't mind seeing, tags on a helmet and talking about anti-racism, right? I get that. I'm okay with that. So I love what's happening. Again, I'm just gonna go back to the two black quarterbacks. It's impressive. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge for sports. So
yeah, and listen, we're going to talk about this. Jalen Hurts, starting quarterback from the Philadelphia Eagles, got a great story. He had an MVP caliber year. They've been talking a little bit about his background. He started in the national title game for Alabama, was benched, went to Oklahoma, played great there. Starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs is Patrick Mahomes, who's been to the Super Bowl, 4 out of the last 5 years.
Both from Texas.
Both from Texas, right? Great all-around ball players. Both of their dads were professional athletes. And
what was Jalen Hurts' dad was? What kind of pro?
I think he played football, if I'm not mistaken. It was either football or baseball. Somebody
was he a
fact check
coach?
us. No, he was a professional player.
Huh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah. And so they're squaring off. You got two great teams. Do you got any picks for the game?
Man, so our girl Carolina Teague, Carolina Teague just interviewed Michael Vick at the Super Bowl on Radio Row. And Vic couldn't pick it. Man, if Vic can't pick it, I don't know if I can pick it.
Yeah.
Right? Michael Vick, one of the great all-time players, paid his dues to society, came back, played again, has become a model citizen, got a second chance. I absolutely love it. So if Vic can't pick it, I can't.
Yeah.
Part of me knows how hard it is to get back, and I want Jalen Hurts to get it for that reason. And he's with the Philadelphia Eagles. They haven't been great, almost kind of like the Cowboys in a lot of ways. However, I just want to see Mahomes dominate. I would really love to see Mahomes dominate.
I would like to see Philly get in there and win it because, listen, the Kansas City Chiefs are turning into the Golden State Warriors for me. They're always there. They're always winning. They find a way to get to the Super Bowl. Here's the thing. Patrick Mahomes was injured in the last game, the AFC Championship game, and they still win. He was out of high ankle sprain. Usually takes 3 or 4 weeks to turn around to get healthy. He's out there playing on one leg. He's completely hobbled. It's completely obvious. Travis Kelce, starting tight end, is also injured, lower back injury. They out there still winning, scoring touchdowns. And I'm like, how can you bet against them? I would like to see Jalen Hurts. I am a fan of black quarterbacks. There's been a lot of black quarterbacks that have inspired me. One of the last ones that got out there that made it to the Super Bowl and lost was Cam Newton. Cam Newton had an MVP caliber year, and then he lost the game to the Denver Broncos, and it was Peyton Manning who that was also a game, very close game. I think we're going to see a really good game. Both defenses are stout. You've got Pro Bowlers on both sides of the ball. It's going to be interesting. One of the other key players that I think to look to have a breakout game is DeQuan Smith, from receiver from Philly. You got to check him out. I remember on the draft show that we had, the Detroit Lions, Devontae Smith, I should say, the Detroit Lions had a chance to draft Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy winner. They passed on him. Here they are in the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you, Guylon, have any players to watch?
I'm watching the quarterbacks, and I'm watching Kelce, the tight end. That's a bad man. That is a bad
to overcome
man.
The injuries.
Yo.
And the other thing is that a lot of these teams that have made it to the Super Bowl that have recently won have done it with key tight ends. You look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had Tom Brady. He brought over Gronk. Gronk came through, did his thing at tight end. Last year's game was a great game as well. I thought the Bengals were going to make it to the Super Bowl. They were my pick, but the Chiefs just wouldn't be denied.
Yeah, it's we'll see. I'm not a big, it's funny because I take up for the players, right? When something's going on with the players, I take up for them. I'm a very, very casual sports fan. So I understand most of the time what's going on, records and stuff like that. I couldn't pick out 5 players on most teams, right? So for me, I look at the stars. I look at something depending on the story that's going on. So I'm always in it for a good game, unless they're playing the Cowboys, and I'm not rooting for the Cowboys, right?
Well, there's certainly enough Cowboys that I'm pretty sure that are watching this show right now, and we apologize to all the Cowboy fans.
No, we don't.
Well, listen, man, the Cowboys we hear are one of the top money makers in the world, right? You can see that star logo. They're selling. Jerry's World brings in the
Who
big
in the
events.
hell calls them the America's team anymore?
A lot of people do, man.
But why? They haven't won anything in how many years since they won the championship?
Nah,
Speaking of winning,
that's fair. No,
Speaking
that's
of
fair.
winning-
I don't personally like the Cowboys. They're not my favorite team in the world, but their fan base is, let's be honest, man, it's out of control.
delusional.
They're
They're
delusional.
delusional. Their fan base is delusional.
They could be delusional. But
I'm
listen,
just saying.
we're in San Antonio. We don't have a pro team other than the San Antonio Spurs, so we know people are very sensitive about their Cowboys fans. We're not going to get into that. It's still touchy that they lost. And so, hey.
Our Spurs fans are becoming delusional also.
Well,
it's like
that
you gotta look at the greatness of teams and accept that greatness and then move on. And you got to celebrate that greatness and then move on. Because with the San Antonio Spurs, what we really got to take a look at in particular is that they could not be good possibly for 15 years. Look at the Cowboys. They hadn't won a road game in 20-something years. Come on. Back-to-back mediocre quarterbacks that people think that are good quarterbacks. Actually, I like Tony Romo and I've liked Dak Prescott. But back-to-back? Come on, man. Like, these fans, we got to wake up as fans. We got to wake up as fans.
Let me tell you something about black quarterbacks as well. Dak Prescott would have that monkey put off his back if he was winning.
Dak Prescott is a black quarterback playing for Jerry Jones.
Okay.
And I think he has assimilated way too much. I'm just saying, man.
But if he was winning, it wouldn't matter. If he was winning championships.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would.
I don't know. I mean, to who? To who?
To fans. To people that like people that stay who they are. Listen, I'm John Morant, he ain't hood.
We know that.
All right? He wants to be hood. That's a disappointment. That is a disappointment because nobody's going to be happy until John Morant winds up shot from running his mouth or doing something stupid. And then we're going to care about it. Right?
But that could be true. That could be true.
We care. I care about people who want to be good humans for the sake of good humans. I'm not going to take anything away from anybody, but I think Dak has had some chances to be a leader, and he's shown that he's not a leader.
Well, listen, his story's not yet done. Here's my thing. These are young guys. These are young men. Where would we be if people cut us off at age 26, 27, right? I mean, these guys are living out their lives on the prime time, right? They're overcoming injuries. They're working through contracts. They got family problems at home. They got all the scrutiny on Twitter, as you talked about. They've got, okay, what if I, get injured again next week? Then I'm out for another year. There goes my big contract. These guys got a lot of pressure on their shoulders, and they're young men that have all the temptation, all the money in the world, people throwing themselves at them. It's hard to be these guys these days. Let's be honest. We talked about LeBron.
I don't deny that. Yeah. However, Dak Prescott is 29 years old.
He's a young man.
He's not a kid anymore.
No, he's 29. 29 is a young man.
I know. I think that's a seasoned veteran in the NFL. He's been in the NFL for 7 years. We can't continue using the same excuses for 29-year-olds that we use for somebody who is 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, say till about 24, 25.
Okay, but what if he wins the Super Bowl next year?
He's not.
You don't know that?
He's a Cowboy.
Come on, man. Listen, they were in what? They were one game away from the NFC Championship.
Okay.
I mean,
and if my aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle.
Nah, hold on.
Like if and buts, no.
No, hold on. Dallas had a pretty good defense. They have perennial Pro Bowlers on both sides of the ball. They can do some things.
They are the Dallas Cowboys, period.
So you're talking about their fans are becoming delusional. Now their haters are becoming delusional.
They are delusional.
All right, now chime in on the comment section and let us know who's really delusional.
No, I mean, listen. How long do you continue being a fan before you wake up and you say my team has not been good for a long time? My owner has been not good for a long time.
No, I agree with that. Jerry Jones micromanages them. He needs to step back. He needs to let the coach. He needs to let the players play, all that stuff. They do what they have to do for the money, the revenue, the sponsorships. I understand that that's business, something that we don't always agree on anyway. But I tell you what, if he was winning, there wouldn't be that sort of criticism on him. Now, do I think that they're going to win a Super Bowl next year? I don't think so. But they got a pretty decent team. Look at their skill positions. You got two good running backs, not great but good. You got couple good wide receivers, some pretty good wide receivers. You got a pretty damn good defense.
Are they better than the Bills? Are they better than the Bills?
Probably not.
Okay, are they better than the Chiefs?
No, they're not better than Chiefs.
Are they better than the Eagles?
No, they're not better than the Eagles.
Okay, so that's 3 teams that are only going to get better next year.
Here's the thing. The Eagles could play the Cowboys in the NFC Championship, and then you one game off from the Super Bowl. That's all there is.
Right, but that didn't happen. The Cowboys are sitting at home like you and I. They're on podcast right now because they didn't win. And they haven't won. So when your owner's not a good human, you're not going to get good things.
So how did they win those other championships?
That was residual.
Years?
That was residual.
Emmett.
That was great coaches. Oh, that was great coaches and amazing players. And that was a different time. That's a time when you could go out and you could party, get drunk, have sex, do coke, do all these crazy things, and still show up to the field and win. You can't do that anymore.
You ain't lying. You ain't wrong.
And Jerry Jones is a gunslinger and is biting him in his ass.
There you have it, folks. The hottest takes from Gylan Jackson.
I'm just saying, man.
The biggest critic of the Dallas Cowboys this side of the Mississippi. And on the other side of the Mississippi, it's Rafael Collazo, big fan of the show. We're going to have him on the show in a couple of weeks. He is chiming in from Philly himself. He says Dak ain't winning anything. He does dumb things. The Dallas Cowboys does dumb things like lose in the playoffs. Back then, they won their championships through coaches, through Emmett, and the best offensive line in the league. They had some key players like Dion coming in there. Who's the wide receiver they got on ESPN? I can't think of his name right now.
I have no idea. Is that a Philly fan?
Yeah, he's a Philly guy.
Yeah, see, he can't even talk that much because you're in the Super Bowl.
Well, listen,
they're looking good, but that's easy trash talk.
One game off. Philly could have been one game off too. You know, the NFC wasn't as strong this year. The AFC had some hogs. They had the Bengals. They had the Bills. You know, they had a bunch of good teams, you know. So Philly, they did their thing, man. They're in the game. I think
Philly
they can win
balled out this year.
Yeah. Philly had a good year.
And you saw a quarterback come into his own. He had a damn good year.
I hope he has a great rest of his career. I hope Dak has a good rest of his career as well. I really do.
I wish him all the best. As much stuff as I talk about some the Cowboys, maybe I wish them the best, man. I grew up in Houston. I grew up in Houston. As a Houston Oilers fan. I moved to San Antonio, and in Houston there's like a few Dallas fans, but in San Antonio, like literally, Jerry Jones has purchased all the fans in San Antonio.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Cowboys fans out here.
A bunch of rented Cowboy fans.
Well, we're going to make room for the XFL, the San Antonio Brahmas. There is an event this Thursday at the Alamo Brewery, which is right here by VodPod. That is the official beer sponsor of the San Antonio Brahmas. If you're in the area, stop by Alamo Brewing Company this Thursday at 5 p.m. We might be out there hobnobbing, doing the damn thing. Big shout out to all the viewers tonight. Jalen Hurts, Houston guy. We know he's a Texas guy. We appreciate everybody chiming in tonight. Ashley Sports is told by a girl, Rafael Collazo. Make sure you check him out at his podcast, his show, Bomba Live. He's going to be on the show here in a couple of weeks. Big shout out to Gylan Jackson here chiming in for our special big game show. Big shout out to Carolina Teague, who's out in Arizona right now, Radio Row, doing the damn thing. Stay tuned here at VodPod Media tonight for the Sam Pluto Show hosted by Amzai Austin. Not going to be a show you want to miss. Next week, make sure you're also chiming in here at the Maximo Show for a special couples show. We'll see y'all then. Thank you so much, folks. Until next time.